Episode number 14 of Just Beavin coming your way right now. Starting it off like we always do here. We're going to get the recaps, rolling the previews. We got another Beavin guest this week in the power rankings. You all know the drill by now. Andy, JP, the Beav himself, Drew with you. Drew, you look like you're all business tonight. How you doing, my
I'm doing good. I'm ready to get going. Big election day.
friend? Yeah.
So it's gonna be an exciting day and night. So
How about it? JP, how we doing?
Good, man. Happy to be back. Another episode in. Let's get talking about some football.
I will say
Yeah.
there's a lot of news coming in today with the recent trades. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that, and then some other news coming later. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
No,
cover
we're
the
looking
trades
forward
as we
to it.
go through people's teams.
well,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
that's what I meant. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I was just, informing our viewers of what our plan is, man.
that's what we're ripping through today, Beaver. And we always start with JP's matchup. And how about it, Mr. McGuire? A dominant week for Benjamin Haggerty. Near 200 points, 193.79 to 138.60 over Monaco Gentle. Sir, JP, you improved to 6-3. Another great week for your Ravens. Kareem Hunt as well, the icing on the top to get you above 190 with that overtime game-winning touchdown on Monday Night Football. This is a well-oiled machine at this point, my friend.
Yeah, and shout out to Kale. I'm happy to be one of the ones who broke the ice and finally got a deal done with him. Travis Kelce was freaking amazing. 14 catches, a career high. I mean, of course it happens in a week. I don't need him to do it, but I mean, it just things you love to see. Him getting back into form. I can't believe I'm even going to say this, but if I started Daniel Jones over Kyler Murray, I would have set the scoring record for the league, which is just so sad to even say. um, but yeah, enough about me, and I do want to talk about Jack just for a second here. Chase Brown, I dogged on him at the beginning of the season and how I didn't know if he was ever going to win the backfield. Well, I have to walk that take back. I was admittedly wrong. He's got to be one of the fastest growing dynasty assets at the running back position. He's been a beast, and they throw the ball to him like he's a receiver. I mean, he lined up out wide and caught a touchdown from Joe Burrow on like a real football route, not just like a little wheel or something. I mean, he ran from left to dumb it down. He ran from the left side of the field to the right side of the field, but he ran a real route against a corner, not even a linebacker, scored a passing touchdown, or receiving touchdown, which things you like to see. But that's just, and I also wanted to point out, I think Trevor Lawrence, even though his like actual numbers weren't very good, the 2 interceptions, 16 for 31, et cetera, is becoming another relevant fantasy asset. So those are just good things you like to see for Jack. But really happy with my win this week, and yeah, we dominated, so that was great to see.
Drew, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, not to really talk on JP, covered kind of that, but just want to give him the Jack. He's got to be happy about the protection from D Hop. I mean, heck, he hasn't been playing this good since he's been on the Titans. So I mean, I know. Does he have one more year left on that contract, or is he a free agent? Do we know?
They
Or
got They got to get him a new deal.
that's what I thought. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does next year. But hey, he's looking really good in that Chiefs uniform. So,
I
but yeah.
believe I believe I could be wrong, but I think a stipulation with the trade was that they had to have a deal done before sending him to Kansas City. I just don't think the numbers and all that ever got announced, but I believe a deal is done in secret. So
Yeah, and I want to say too, he's got to be pretty happy too about Jalen Coker. I mean, receiver two, after trading Mingo, going to the Cowboys now. His production should go up in these upcoming weeks, so we'll see how that goes as well. But yeah, he's got to be excited about his team being that 17 right now.
Yeah, and even though he takes the loss, I mean, like we always say, if you can hover around that 140 mark on a weekly basis and you're consistent in that regard, you're set up to win a lot of games. You mentioned it, JP. The Kelsey trade, huge for you. He had a fantastic week. I want to say that it has to be his best week of the season up to this point. And for Jack, yeah, the young guys like Chase Brown, Drake May continue to look fun. It's good to have optimism from younger guys on your roster that are just starting in this league. Good thing moving forward. But I do want to say his two starting running backs that he had up in the main slots. I know Nick Chubb is one of them. John Taylor, disappointing weeks. I mean, combining for under 15 points. But that's honestly, when you look at that, guys, that's still impressive. He's able to put up nearly 140, and he didn't get the running back production. I mean, I know the running back production came from Chase Brown, but in terms of his RB1 and RB2 on his slate, he didn't get the production that he would have wanted. So I think there are good signs to have there. But yeah, JP, you got to love it in your spot, especially after that tough loss to Beaver last week. 6-3, gotta love where you're at right now, and we'll look at the playoff picture throughout the coming weeks. And it's all about seeding at this point. Every win matters for seeding, even if certain spots are already decided. So
There is one more thing I did want to add that I completely forgot to mention. I don't know if either of you watched much of the Patriots Titans game. Drake May is freaking fast. I mean, he was no designed runs for him, and he got 95 yards on 8 carries. And he runs, which I mean, it cost him last week, but he runs fearless. I mean, all the comparisons to Josh Allen coming out of college, saw it on full display this week. Even the interception that lost him the game. I mean, he threw a deep ball into double coverage. I mean, it was right out of Josh Allen's rookie book. But I mean, Drake May is looking the part for real. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Drake May. But
Yeah,
it went early in that mid first round, and we go from one high scoring contest to another. 181 for the IR this week, man. There's a lot to love. 7-2 against Bigsby's Bandits. Luke, a lower scoring week for his standards. Beav, I'll let you start here. I always like to finish the wrap ups on my own matchups, just takeaways from the game between myself and Mr. Hunley this week.
Yeah, funny enough, me and McGuire are watching football, and I look at him and I say, "Did Puka really just throw a punch?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "I don't know. I just got a notification he threw a punch. He's out of the game now." And I was like, "Oh my God." So we were watching that game because we were watching our Bears play. Disappointing loss there, but yeah, I thought that was funny. But hey, you got to be happy about the production from Calvin Ridley. I know 12.3 isn't really a lot, but from what he's been doing recently, you can't really ask a lot for him. Tank Dell, 18 points for him. I thought he was gonna do a lot worse, but hey, can't go wrong with that. On Luke's side, he's got to be happy about Pollard. That 18 points there. I heard he's a little banged up. I don't know if that's true or not. Judy with Winston looks a lot better than he was with Deshaun, so I will say that as well. And then with Luke, I had some crazy trade offers here and around the league that he's interested in moving Brees Hall now that the trade deadline's over. He was trying to shop him a little bit. It was interesting, but yeah, that's all I got there. So
There you have
yeah,
it.
jumping in on that Puka spot. Puka cost me a game in a redraft league.
Me too.
I was winning.
Me
Well,
too.
so it was horrible. I was winning by like decimals, like 0.5, 0.6 maybe. And because I made fun of Drew for the Caleb Williams fumble when Kyler handed it off to DeMercado and it was a fumble. I don't even know if you watched that far into the Bears game. But it was like their last drive and it was 4th and 1 and Kyler handed it to DeMercado and DeMercado literally fumbled it. I don't
Right.
know how they ruled that one on Kyler. Anyways, I lost 2 points and then Puka, I mean, he would have got one catch if he stayed in that game the rest of the time, and I would have won. But very frustrating. But what you love to see from your team is Alvin Kamara with 30 carries, 35 total touches is absolutely insane in the modern day of football. 35 touches is crazy. A-Chain getting 20 touches alone. Things, just a lot of good things for your team. 181 points is unheard of. I never would have thought your team would do that, let alone, and I'm taking this right out of your mouth because I know we're going to say it, Mr. Yakum, all this without DK Metcalf looking good, and a bad week from Javonte Williams, which I'm happy to see because they're saying Estime is going to be getting more work. I'm a little worried about Ferguson without Dak. That makes me very nervous, knowing that Cooper Rush is taking over. But what you really like to see is Tank Dell playing really, really good without Diggs and Collins. And I think with Diggs out for the year, and even with Collins coming back, I think we can still expect these kinds of games from Dell. This was a lot more of what we saw last year. And I think that these 14 to 18 to 22 point outbursts are going to be more common because eventually he'll be, 20 yards less, but he'll be getting in the end zone. So I think your team is definitely a high riser right now, and you're hot, and anyone in your way is getting destroyed. So that's what you like to see. So good stuff from the IR this week.
Yeah, dude, super pumped. Another game ball for Marcus Gilday this week. The offense back-to-back weeks, dude. It's crazy. I lost the 2 games I've lost this year. I put up, I think it was 100 in the hundreds, low hundreds, and then 110. And those were the lowest of lows for our team after those losses. But these wins, 7-2. I started 5-1, 6-1, I think, something around there in the opening year of the league, but I've never had it through 9 games. This is something special. Burrow was awesome, like you mentioned. The running backs, A-Chain, Kamara, those are the anchors of this team. And I kept the right guy in Ferg. I know it'll be tough now without Dak, but Cole Kmet, literally 0 points this week. That's who I gave up in the Tank Dell trade. And I love Cole Kmet. I think he's a great talent. We're Bears fans. We love Cole Kmet, but he just isn't being used properly right now. That's the reason why he was the guy I was more comfortable giving away in that trade. It was good to see Tank Dell do his thing on Thursday Night Football, looking comfortable with Stroud again. The Puka getting kicked out of the game wasn't fun. If he didn't get kicked out, we probably would have broken 190. It is what it is. Can't complain too much for Luke. Another stinker for Brees on Thursday Night Football. His tight ends didn't really provide anything. Hawkinson just coming back off that injury, and Flacco was a non-factor in that game against Minnesota. So we'll take him any way we can get him. And I know I finished the season with Jake, JP, Frank, and I keep having that in the back of my mind. It's a gauntlet to finish out the regular season. So we're gonna take wins as we can get them now. I'm having a lot of fun. And I know this is going to probably set myself up for some heartbreak come playoff time, because this is going to be, I said, gauntlet to close out my regular season. To win the league this year, I think this is going to be the hardest it's ever been to win this league. This is going to be a gauntlet. It's a grind. These playoffs are going to be the duds are going to stand out so much more. There's so much pressure for your lineup to be perfect come playoffs, because I think when we get to the playoffs, if you don't put up more than 155, there's a shot you don't win.
I fully agree. I fully agree with that.
That's a pretty scary feeling, dude.
I was gonna say 160, but 155 around that range, 150 to 160.
I think in order to be comfortable with a shot at winning, it's gotta be you gotta get like 160, 165. And I mean, right now the team's doing it. That's great, but I just hope we're not peaking at the wrong time. I don't think we are, but it's been a lot of fun, man. I'm doing it. So 7-2, can't complain too much. As we move on to the matchup between Kale and Brady. I want to hit something first. So you see the score, 106-67, a complete nothing burger. Kale's only real factors, Tua and Austin Eckler. Brady had a quarterback this week. He was our guest last week. You tuned into episode 13. If you haven't tuned in, go do so after you watch this episode. Guys, Kale is, as we mentioned, Kale made the move, sending Kelsey to JP. I think he's packing it in for the year, guys. I think this will be the last win that Kale gets on this 2024 season, unless he plays another tanking team that I don't know about. And with Brady, he understood when he came on the show and talked to us last week that this is his reality too. So there isn't really much to go over here, but I think the big talking point is Kale packing it in for the season.
Yeah, go ahead. You're good.
I do know, just to give my quick 2 cents, that Kale does play Ty eventually, because in a group chat I'm in, Ty was having a panic that if Kale got his first round pick back, Kale was going to throw against Ty, ultimately pushing Ty to the 5th overall pick. So I know Ty was very worried about that, but yeah, the one thing I just want to talk about is there's no point in even discussing Kale's team, but big regression week from Bigsby, what you don't like to see. And then none of the young talents for Brady doing anything. Keon Coleman dropped what would have been a touchdown, and then it turned into a pick for Miami. So that's just things you don't like to see. Brady's hoping this season can get over and he can take Tet and or Ginty and or Burden in this upcoming draft. He's counting down the days till he's on the clock. But that's all I got to say. What an ugly matchup, though.
Beaver?
Yeah. I don't know the direction, like you said, Yak. I don't know the direction Kale's going to. I've heard multiple rumors that he had multiple offers for certain people. Knowing that he has one first-round pick now since trading Kelsey to JP, knowing that he only has one first-round pick going into next year and it's not even his is a little concerning to me. Yeah, I mean, all his prices on his players, we all know, are very hefty. It's a sore subject with him and everyone else. But yeah, like JP said too, back to Brady's team, it'll be interesting to see what he does. QB is a little bit of an issue for him, but like he said, it'll be interesting to see who he takes of that Tet, Burden, or Genti with this pick. So yeah.
Yeah, two teams that are not looking like playoff hopefuls after week 9 as we move on to a matchup where Beaver's going to get most of the floor here. I want to give my 2 cents before I toss it to you, Drew. If you go check out our Instagram, beaver.fest, Frank has made another video claiming another victim this week in the Beaver himself in a matchup that wasn't particularly close, 45-plus point blowout. Looking at Frank's side, JP, if we want to go back and forth on this, Zay Flowers, monster game. cool seeing that Bo Nix touchdown catch. And I will say another man down for Frank and Drake London. Unsure of the severity. I haven't been reading up on the Drake London news,
Hip
but
pointer.
is that how long did they give a timetable?
Questionable.
That's
the
the
week
worst
is
because
what
you
I-
just
They gave
you-
no timetable. They didn't
That's like-
give.
so it's like DK
Yeah.
Metcalf
Yes.
basically. We're just
Yeah.
okay. That's brutal. But still, I mean, a typical Frank week. I mean, it wasn't an IR week. It wasn't a 180 point week. But you know, he still got the job done. Drew, I'll let you kind of take the floor here. I'm sure you got some things to say about your guys. It was a tough battle for you with Frank, but fortunately, not able to come out on top.
No, no. If you if you stay down at the bottom, I mean, just look at my flex DJ Moore, Caleb Williams. I mean, to be honest with you both, there's got to be a better production there. If I want to have any succeeding in this league, you can't be scoring 9 and 7 points with two of my better players, if we say so. Laporta, 6.8 points. Can't be happening that. For him though, it's like a coin flip. You know, last year he was the number one tight end in the league. This year he seems to be having a struggle, little sophomore slump. But I'm pretty excited for these next upcoming weeks. I get Nico Collins back this week, and two trades I made this in the trade deadline. I have acquired Devontae Adams and Amari Cooper, and not to mention James Conner to add to this squad. So I'm excited to see what this turns into. So I'm looking in the right direction, and yeah, this loss hurts, but I'm just looking for the future now.
Doesn't help when one of your starting receivers negative 1 point. I didn't even realize Worthy had negative points.
Oh, I
That's
did
tough.
because I was playing against him in
Yeah.
in the Jahari. Shout out Jahari.
Jahari.
In that redraft league, and I was down 4 points going into the night, or maybe 9 points with Hunt versus Worthy, and I checked in like a minute or like 5 minutes into the game and was only down 8 points, and I was like, maybe he fumbled, and then I pulled it up. He had one carry for minus 10 yards, and they tried to run it again. I guess nothing happened. So
Yeah, I don't really know what happened with that. Yeah, I just kind of want to ignore that part, but yeah.
There you go. Anything else, JP, or Beaver kind of
all
touch
good
everything?
there.
All righty. How about this matchup, guys? Matt, second highest score in the week this week. Probably the one time you'll see 186 and it not be the highest scoring effort. And a pretty good week for Jake too. Like I say, anytime you're north of 140, you got to be feeling pretty good about what your team did. But in this case, guys, just not even remotely close of a matchup of a result. Matt might be here to stay. Didn't really have a single letdown performance in his lineup. J.K. Dobbins balled out, as you see in his RB1 slot. And I will ask the question. We'll start with JP. There's two questions. Is Matt officially here to stay? And is it time to panic on Zippy's side?
Yeah, I was having a conversation with Matt on Saturday night, and we were discussing the importance of this game, and in which he said, if I win this, the winner of this game is going to the playoffs, the loser is not. To which I countered and said, I think Zippy makes the playoffs regardless. Well, Matt, I take those words back. Upon looking ahead at the schedules and the way things are falling, it actually hurts me to say this. It really doesn't actually. But I don't think Zippy's going to make the playoffs, which I believe the current 7 teams that are in the playoff now are going to make it. And Zippy not making the playoffs this year, as pointed out by co-host Mr. Andy Yakum, Zippy would be the only original member to still not have an appearance in the playoffs. Call it bad luck, call it what you will, but yeah. So Matt, I was wrong about that. I think you are locked in the playoff now. Zippy, I think you're going to be fighting an uphill battle here. You're going to have to win a couple matches that you're probably projected lower in. So it's still possible. I just think that this, if you end up missing the playoffs, we'll look back at this matchup and say this is the reason why. But I quickly want to touch on, great move for Matt going to get McLaurin. Obviously, he was all touchdown dependent this week, but that worked out. And Cade Otton, Mike Evans, and Godwin being out had to be the best thing that's happened to Matt, because Cade Otton has been a freaking beast.
He's been awesome
since he's been out. But this 22 from Devontae Adams will no longer be here next week, as DJ Moore, as Drew pointed out a game ago, will be slotting in there. And no more Amari Cooper, even though he didn't start him this week. Still no Amari Cooper. So it'll be interesting to see if Matt can replicate another 180-point performance. But Yeah, not much to add there besides Zippy. My heart goes out to you if you don't make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I want to give a compliment on Jake's side though. Garrett Wilson was so much fun to watch on Thursday Night Football. That rivals the Odell catch. I still think the Odell catch is a little better, but that was one of those where I'm watching with my dad in the family room, and I go wow, like I like yelled out wow. That's all I could say. It was very I was very loud. It's just that was a genuine reaction to that catch where you don't see that every day. No, just a super fun player to watch and do his thing. Michael Pittman being a no show doesn't help, and another AJ Brown injury. Not unsure of the severity, how much time he's going to miss, but either way, he didn't play the full game on Sunday, so that certainly didn't lead to any helping either. Drew, your thoughts on the whole situation? Is Matt here to stay, and is it time for Zippy to panic?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you boys. I think Matt's time is to stay. One thing that concerns me of Zippy, he's got to be a little concerned whether he makes playoffs or not. The status of Anthony Richardson. Is he going to be a starting quarterback in this league next year, or is he going to be a backup? Like that's with him using one of his top first round picks 2 years ago on him. That's a concern in my book for him. With his second quarterback now being Jameis Winston. That's not a good sign for Jake, in my opinion. And then the injury of AJ Brown, that concerns me a little bit as well. But he's got to be happy about the production of Garrett Wilson with Devontae Adams getting there. So, yeah.
There you have it. That was probably one of the bigger chain reactions of a game that we had here this week. One last recap on our slate before we head
Hey,
to the
okay,
Beavin
okay.
Guest. What do you got, Drew?
Never mind. My bad. I
Yeah, I
messed up.
was
Keep
I was
going.
gonna
Keep
say
going.
the
Keep going.
Thug Shake Bowl boys. We have a winner. And to really no surprise, we did get a Thug Shake video in the group
We
chat
did get a Thug Shake video.
after it
Let's
went down.
go.
Cam Boyer being victorious once again, like we said, 128-66, I believe it was. Not too much of a surprise. This is what we expected. Cam Boyer had a 90% chance to win once we entered in this week. Didn't need to have a world-beating performance, but guys, I would still say it's a bit concerning how his team showed up. South of 130 is never a good spot to be in. Olave getting hurt, a lack of performance from Goff and Love. We'll say JSN though was freaking awesome. Like that's a career game from that guy. 37 fantasy points. And then Cam Crook, this is the standard. CD Lamb now banged up. It was really hard to watch him through that game. Just try to play through it. He couldn't do so. All I have here is Theo Johnson, question mark. I believe he scored a touchdown. If not, had a really good game either way. How about that? Shout out him. And Wandale Robinson could be hitting the fall off as well. Those are just my notes from the Thug Shake Bowl. JP, if you got anything to add, not a very exciting contest overall, but the thing I keep harping on was this isn't a performance. I mean, Cam Boyer is going to take the win, but I don't think you can be over the moon about how you won this game.
No, I fully agree with that. Only thing I have in my notes where you touched on Olave. And then Cam Boyer, if you make it to this part of the video, which I'm sure you will, please come in the group chat so we can celebrate our takes on Tyrone Tracy going into the rookie draft. I had a conversation with Cam prior to the draft about how he was gonna maybe overdraft Tyrone Tracy. But when there's a guy you like, you take him where you like him. There's no such thing as an overdraft, especially if it hits. And Cam obviously takes him, and here we are. And the production wasn't there, but 16 carries is something you
Yeah.
love to see. He didn't quite get the receiving work this week, which is fine, but I think it's safe to say that that's a hit and one that's probably going to stay because they won't need to draft a running back now for quite a while in New York. But yeah, you got to be a little worried about the Jordan Love production. He looks kind of bad. There's no way to sugarcoat it. He just hasn't looked good. But yeah, a little concerned for Boyer, but the young piece with Tracy there is something to look forward to.
Beaver, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, for Cam, I don't know
Oh,
if
they're
it's just
both Cam.
overreaction. Oh, my bad. Cam Boyer, you know who I'm talking about. Cam Crook, I love you, but I don't really got anything to talk about your team. Just rebuilding phase for you.
Oh, one
Hey,
more thing. I apologize. Cam Crook used his warning on Damian Pierce this week, so he no longer can throw his game against Ty. Thank you.
There we go.
there you
Commissioner
go.
laying down the law. What do you got, Beef? Back
But
to you.
where my concern of Cam is for these upcoming weeks, he's got to be concerned about his lack of depth on his bench. I'm a little shocked he made no trades at this deadline with Olave, and I believe someone else got hurt. I can't think of it on the top of my head. He's got no receiver depth. I mean, he's got none. and with Olave, and I think if Waddle's banged up, I saw him get back from the game. But say he goes down. I mean, he's got the receiver from Tampa Bay. I can't remember his name. I texted JP a funny
Raheem
name
Jarrett.
yesterday. Raheem Jarrett. I think I said Raheem. I don't even know what I said yesterday, but I
I
said
can tell you, it wasn't Raheem Jarrett.
It wasn't. It wasn't that. It was some bogus name like that. But anyways, that's my concern for Cam, and for him going into playoffs. That's not a good sign. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's all I got.
There you have it. The Thug Shake Bowl. First winner being Cam Boyer. We got one more match to
Jaheim
recap.
Grant. Jaheim Grant. That was what he told me. Jaheim Grant.
Jaheim Grant. Former Bears punt returner Jakeem Grant.
Jakeem Grant. Yeah.
There you go. I believe that was his name, right?
Yeah, Jakeem Grant. Yeah.
Yeah,
There we
that's
go.
his name.
All right. One more match to recap, and we got a Beavin Guest. This should be a fun one. Looking forward to having a great conversation with one Mr. Ty McKain. He is our Beavin Guest here on this week's show. That's coming your way right now on the Just Beavin podcast. The Beavin Guest this week has joined the pod. Ty McKain, you see him on your screen right now, along with the rest of our panel. Ty, welcome on to the show. Before we get going here, you're one of our original members. Just want to have you talk about your experience in the league through 3 years. You've had some highs of all highs and some lows of all lows. Just kind of talk about what being in the league has been like, what it's meant to you, and just everything these last 3 years.
Sure. Happy to be here. Past 3 years, it's been a rocky road. It's my team this year. It's looking a little rough. First year, I thought I was all right. Thought I had a decent draft. Let me think here. Did I draft Herbert or not? I can't remember. Or maybe I traded for him. But
I don't know.
yeah,
I think you traded.
or maybe I got
him.
him. But the first year was pretty solid. Second year, a little bit of a down year. I kind of took some chances. Dalvin Cook was a rough one. But overall, the experience has been phenomenal. Love it. I was a big proponent of the expansion this summer. We hashed that out. I assisted with the making of the Constitution, which we are rewriting soon. So I'd say I'm an active member for the good and the bad. This summer, bad, but in the past, relatively good. But yeah, great experience so far.
Good experience with the guys in the league too. Good group of lads we got here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I had a lot of fun. I'd have a beer with all of them. Well, some more than others, but I could have at least one with everybody. But no, I'm just kidding. No, everybody's awesome. They're a blast, especially the new members too. They've been great. They really acclimated well. I love the chat, the group chat every weekend or every week. They're real fiery. So
it's gotten good too, to a point. I think, I don't know if we've mentioned this before in the show, just the three of us, but our group chat is more than just fantasy football now.
It's a lifestyle. It's everything.
Yeah, we're all
kind of like family.
I mean, it's real morning hours, you know?
Yeah. We all,
we love
everyone who gets up super early for work Luke's usually the big proponent of texting good morning, everyone, and it's like 6 a.m. or earlier. But there's the group of us that are up early. Yeah, Drew said it's more like we got more of like a family feel to it. That we'll just talk about random stuff. It's not always fantasy. That's just how close everyone is in this league. But JP, I know you got more league related questions for Ty before we get into his recap against Dade last week.
Yeah, you know, I kind of wanted to shift more towards some of the trades that you've made, in history. I didn't dive back and pull up all of them, but I did pull up 3 that I think have had, a significant impact on not really the league, although 2 of them have had significant impact on the league. Another one, I just remember the group chat after the trade went through. I believe you turned your phone off for maybe over an hour before you said anything. But since Drew's, segment is more focused on lightheartedness and, your favorite things to do outside of this, I wanted to take the time to pull up some past trades here. I first wanted to start with, if my screen ever goes to normal here, I wanted to start with a Will Levis trade made between you and Matt Hendricks, super early in the season before kickoff of week 1. You traded 2 firsts for Levis and, one of your favorite players, Gabe Davis. So I just kind of wanted to get your thought process on that. And now if you look right above that, seeing that you moved on from Levis for much less than 2 firsts, I just kind of wanted to hear you talk about that a little bit.
Sure. I would love to talk about this trade, right? So I'm sure most of the people that watch this know that me and JP happen to be in law school, and it's a little tough sometimes. And I was having a bad week, and it was like we were just starting. and I was sitting in class, and my damn phone is buzzing and buzzing and buzzing. We got a little Henny God. He's like, he's trying. He starts off, I think, with like a second or something. And I don't want to be quoted on this, but I think it was like a second. And then I'm saying no, and we're going back and forth. And then he wouldn't budge. And then I'm checking Twitter on the way home, and I'm seeing the Titans hype for Will Levis, and I'm like, this is the year. He's got D Hop, he's got Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard at the backfield. We got a new new head coach. It all came together, and then I get that crapshoot. And then so this is really what set off. And then I'm sure you'll get to some more trades after this. But this is really once I figured out that Levis is not the guy, I had to blow things up. And so I'm sure you'll go from there. But
we will. But before that, we're going to jump back a year to over the summer, very early in the summer, June 3rd. You traded Justin Herbert for JJ McCarthy and a 2025 first. I don't remember who exactly that 2025 was. That yours, Andy? Because you were the other party in this trade.
Yeah, it was my first round pick and JJ.
Yeah, so Ty, just walk us through this one.
All right, so here's another story. Ty's bored. So we're at work, and so I was on my work, and I'm trading around or whatever. And can you pull up at all like the end of his 2023 season for Herbert?
Yes,
he might have been hurt. I think.
Able to. Yep, he was hurt.
Yeah, he was hurt. Right. So I had a little bad taste in my mouth, right? And so we have how many months do we go to where we can't trade? Like it's blocked off.
End of January all the way to March, so almost 2 months.
Yeah. So sitting there for a while, and then we had was this pre-draft or during the draft?
This was June 3rd.
About a week after, 2 weeks after the draft.
Okay, a week after the draft. I'm freaking out. I just took Penix because that was another dumb thing. Just the cascade here. But yeah, just a little bad taste in my mouth. And I'm like, you know what, Herbert, he's got Harbaugh coming in. He's more run heavy. Was Greg Roman the OC?
Greg Roman is the OC.
Yeah, right. He's coming from the Ravens. They're just going to run down the throat. Yeah, that was another terrible trade. And then JJ McCarthy doesn't even see the field this season. So, yeah.
I gave him the IR juju before I gave him to you.
And I think what really emphasizes this trade for me is the fact that you fleeced Cam Boyer for Justin Herbert. You somehow traded away Herbert to get Jefferson, but then traded back to get Herbert and have both Herbert and Jefferson. So that just, spiraled. And then speaking of the devil, we now get to the Justin Jefferson trade, which I want to preface by saying I really didn't think it was as bad as people made it out to be. I just think it was the fact that you traded with me, and some people are against that, Zippy. But I just I really want to hear more of your side of the negotiation, because the whole time, we were negotiating this almost all summer, but the whole time we were really negotiating it, that last night, we were doing the podcast actually, and I don't remember which guest was on, but there's about a 20-minute portion in there where I just don't even look at the screen. It might've been Dade.
It was Dade.
Yeah, and I just didn't even look at the screen. We were just going back and forth texting. So I just kind of want to get your point of view on that.
So over the summer, we definitely talked about it a lot, but I wasn't in like full blow up mode yet. I knew that it was like, for me, it was always like having a Lamborghini in a trailer park. Like, he's damn good. Like, he's really good. You see it this year. Is he like wide receiver two? Man, it pained me. But after the Levis debacle, the Herbert debacle, like, my team is just getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, and then I'm looking around, I don't have any draft picks. This trade I defend a little bit, because Lad, I turned into Kyle Pitts, and I guess if we have time, maybe we can go to that one, maybe not. But I mean, like 2 firsts, a second, Lad, which I look at as like a first and a third, for Jetson a third. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, he obviously, whoever it went to, somebody was going to be pissed, because I mean, I think he's the best fantasy option in the league. Yeah, just going to you though. Especially your team. I mean, what did you put up, 190 this week? So
yeah, 193.
And especially with Zippy. Zippy did not give me as good, and I'm gonna get flack for this. He did not give me as good of a trade as that. So we were going back and forth, and I was being like a gentleman with it. Well, Andy, did I tell you too?
No.
In the running for Jettas? Okay, never mind then.
No. I know that you texted Andy about Jettas because I remember.
I thought you meant there's something.
We got on the
negotiations.
podcast and Andy was like, "I just don't have the assets to offer that."
I didn't have the ammo.
Yeah.
If I had the ammo, I would have conversed with it. I would have. Obviously, Justin Jefferson. How do you not pick up the phone? But I just knowing who else was in the running, they're gonna outbid me. It's one of those where it's why even put your track shoes on if you know you're not gonna win the race. There's no point. So, but yeah,
Right.
no, that was quite the spectacle. That was something. So, yeah.
To that point of the bad offers, though, I remember when I traded for Christian McCaffrey, and everyone had a freaking heart attack, and then Brady was like immediately was like, "Hale, you offered me 2 seconds and a third for Christian McCaffrey. Like, why are you mad right now?" I just remember like everyone getting so mad, and then Brady like airing out what everyone was offering him, and I was like, "Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. You guys are offering trash, and then you get mad."
It sucks when guys when your rivals, when your fellow competitors that you're chasing championship with get those guys. But at the same point, you have to understand where the person giving up the assets is coming from. Like, I'm making a huge move off my team. I'm not gonna take a different offer just because we don't want this guy to have it. So you're gonna get whatever you want to get the most back that you can, because otherwise then you're doing yourself a disservice. So no, I
have to ask you, has Kale tried to interact with you for a trade recently or no?
Kale lately? I don't. I have to check. Give me half a second here. I don't think so. Or no, maybe he just did today. No, Frankie did today. Yeah, there you go, Frank. It was just a fun little lighthearted one. Actually, he hasn't traded. It's been 2 months actually. So no Kale trades.
Interesting.
But here we go. Here's a trade I like. I'll get here. Now we're back on it. Can I speak on this?
Oh, yeah, go for it. So I pulled it up.
All right. Yeah. No. Oh yeah. No, I love this one. Kyle Pitts. Go to his game log since I got him. Well, this past week it sucked.
Yeah.
I got him.
We'll hide that one. We'll hide that one.
Yeah. There we go.
I can't.
For the Tampa Bay game on, he has been killing it, and so that made me feel a lot better. Still like Ladd though, so that was kind of rough.
I've said it since I've given him up in the Jefferson deal every week that like I love Ladd. I think Ladd's gonna be a beast in LA. But yeah, Pitts and a first for a banged up Hawkinson and Ladd. Definitely happy with that one. But
and a second.
Take it away from here. Let's get this ball rolling.
Let's do it. Your matchup this past week, known as one of the matchups of the ages here in Beaverfest. Mm-hmm. This is one that we've said on the podcast for the last few weeks, the matchup we've looked forward to the most. You against Dade, and it wasn't even remotely close. Want to shout out Dade, Ty, before we let you kind of go about your current team and recap this week. Another new record for someone not intentionally trying to lose a game in terms of lowest points scored in a single match, 43.9. I quite frankly, guys, do not know how that is remotely possible. I mean, it helps when you don't have a quarterback. We've seen that with Brady the past couple of weeks, but man, I mean, holy cow. I looked at it, I think it was Sunday night or it was Sunday afternoon, and I looked at the projections and I couldn't believe it. Ty putting up 74. I think this is the lowest points ever in the history of the league scored in a win where both teams are somewhat trying to win. So this is where I'll give it to you. The rest of us will kind of talk about it after, but just your takeaways. You're now 3-6, and just, the state of the team and, how you felt about how some guys performed this past week.
Sure. I don't want to be 3-6, but I'm 3-6. Dade told me he wanted to win this game. That's how bad his team is. I mean, before we even get to my team, look at his team. Like, can you pull up his draft picks by chance? I know, don't be a hassle, but like, my Lord, you know what? We'll forget it. We'll just go straight to it.
What is this picture?
I'll leave it to him. But to my team, so I just picked up Sam Darnold in another little deadline trade here. I'm really betting that he gets a job next year. So if not, or I also have JJ McCarthy if they happen to re-sign him, which I don't think is likely. Then he's there. Hopefully he's a starter somewhere. I don't know. Antonio Gibson, you can cut him today. Nobody's gonna pick him up. I don't know who that running back is. Williams. I picked him up this week.
You don't even know Travion.
Yeah, well, I had to pick him up because I needed someone to start.
5-year veteran. 5-year veteran.
No
I don't
way.
think I've ever.
He hasn't played a snap this year.
Oh my God.
Hey,
I will say you got to be happy.
Something.
I will say you got to be happy about Mason Tipton. I think he's
Of course, he was a former Luke Huntley player. That makes way too much sense.
Mason Tipton had a couple good weeks. I mean, of course, he blanked this week. How about that? Where was it? He had one good week.
The Yale product, Mason Tipton.
Oh, this is the best team review we've done.
Oh, I love it. All right. NWI though, he scored 4 straight games.
Yes,
So
he has.
okay. Better than Traylon Burks, whatever that means, on a terrible team. Now Quentin Johnston, here's my baby. I just traded for him. And then he comes out, he performs for me, 118 yards and a tutty. He could be a nice little risk, and I'm happy I actually did because it was it for a second, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Second, which you have 800 of.
It would be good,
right.
Ty, to have him with Justin Herbert, you know.
No, those two, that would be great. Then it's a nice little stack, but life goes on. And then Kyle Pitts puts up a stinker just as I'm talking about. Tyler Conklin, not bad this year. I've actually my tight ends are like this weird mid because the tight end's been so bad. Trotman, I picked him up last week just as like a screw around.
He went crazy the week before. Yeah. He went
the week I started him. Yeah. I put
he
up
went
130 points last week.
Dude, it was bizarre. It was crazy.
Weird. Very weird. And then Chick sucks. Mullins is back up. Who we got? Rudolph. No. Minshew. Good luck.
Hey, Herbert.
Little Herbert.
Hey.
Little Herbert. There we go. Tajay Spears. I'm still holding on to that, but Pollard's like really good
David
now. So
Moore's
I don't know.
Still in the league. Jeez.
Yeah, no,
29.
He had like. I'm just trying to fill the roster. I just got Brown from you. Was he a wide receiver 3 maybe? KJ Osborne, dud. Hey, Gabe Davis, actually, before he got hurt, I think he's coming back. He put up some good weeks, so kind of serviceable. But long term, really, I'm looking at Pitts, Johnston, JJ McCarthy, Penix when he's 45 years old. Yeah, that's what I got.
There you go. Boys, how about the rest of this matchup? I brought up Dade's career game low. He's 0-9 now. I mean, Jordan Addison and Jaden Reed counted for 32 of his 43 points. I'm sorry, I can't.
Wow.
Drew, JP, you got anything here?
I have absolutely nothing to add in this game. Ty said everything I wanted to say just about Johnston and Pitts. Dade, your team sucks, dude. I don't even know if it gets better for you either. Like I don't know how you go up. I don't know how you go up from here. This team's terrible.
I can't believe Cole Kmet scored 0 points. That's just bad. Bad coaching. Bad coaching. That's all I gotta say. Bad coaching.
That's not on the player. How many goose eggs? He's got Wilson, Kmet, Willis in the quarterback spot. Who else? Anyone?
Lucas Kroll. Lucas Kroll.
So almost half his lineup didn't put up any points.
And you know what's even fucking worse? Excuse my language. But anyways, I think he's got 3 picks this year. 3 picks. 3 picks I think he's got. He's got 2 firsts that he had to trade for Jack's first. He had to trade for it. And that's probably going to be like
still a good deal.
Be like a late first now.
Dude, first start, that's your best shot. Those are your best throws at the dartboard, Drew. You'd rather in a position like, I mean, I guess more picks the better for a bad team, but you also need some top of the line guys, some blue chip guys. So I'm not gonna, if all he has is 2 second-round picks, I don't think I'm gonna get too mad at that.
I think he only has 2 firsts and like a 3rd and a 4th this year. I'm pretty
sure
that's all he has.
Can we pull up his picks? No, maybe.
Give me a second here. I might have to go to league.
I gotta know.
I'm with you now. I'm kind of curious now.
There we go.
Okay, Drew, you were way off. I mean, just not even in the stratosphere of close, dude.
It's got 2 1s, 2 2s, a 3, and 2 4s.
Yeah, I was wrong.
Like not even in the stratosphere of close.
Okay, I was wrong. My bad.
There we go.
To be honest, those 2s, how these teams are playing out, aren't going to be good 2s. They're going to end up like
your argument's debunked from 2 minutes ago. He's got both the top line picks and everything. You know what? Else. That's too good.
You know what? Go to the next matchup. You know what? That's
we're gonna do a quick 2-minute preview here, Ty, because there isn't really much to preview in your matchup, and then Drew's gonna hit you with some questions. To close things.
Where is his? Oh, there it is.
There it is. You got Matt this week, Ty, coming off 180 point performance. Just thoughts. I'll give you the floor here for a minute.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's not much of a floor. I mean, I'm trying to lose, so there's that. But I mean, you never know. Trotman could have 20 points again, so there's that. Let me look at his team a little bit, though. I'll give a quick 30-second. Bryce Young's back. Okay, that's fun. J.K. Dobbins, love him. So when is Brooks coming back? Anybody know? Is that this week?
Idea.
He might not
play a week to week. Yeah, he may not even play.
Yeah, they said that he's going to suit up in Germany, but I don't know.
With how Hubbard's
Scary
playing, what's
Terry.
the point?
I agree, actually.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, just slowly bring him in. Scary Terry, he's solid this year. DJ Moore, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that trade. I don't know about that trade. And then he talks a lot about Cortland Sutton. That's one of those weird guys that I know
Yes.
nothing about in the league. Like he exists, but I never know if he's good or not because I don't watch enough Broncos games, and I watch a lot of football. Otten's been a stud, especially with everybody hurt. Shakir, love Shakir. I wanted to trade for Shakir yesterday. He wouldn't let me do it. Hunter Henry, I don't know. Matt Stafford, there we go. He slings the rock. He's solid. He's gonna win. So there's that.
There you have it. We'll do your quick run through of picks, fellas. I don't even think there's any time for us to really need to preview that. We're all going to take Matt.
Yeah, we're all taking Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How did the guests do last week, JP?
Cam Crook went 6-, Brady went 6-1, only missing Zippy versus Matt. Real potential could have gone 7-0 there, but
yeah.
Has
And
anyone
Ty,
been 7-0?
No, but I think you're going to get the best.
I think this is
chance right here,
the
my friend.
week. This is the week.
There is
All right,
one matchup
all
that
right.
will be close, so we will let you. We'll rip through these real quick. And this is rapid fire, so just right off the dome.
I'm ready.
JP and Luke.
Okay, we're taking JP.
There you go. Drew and Brady.
I like Drew here.
That was a 100-point swing. How about that? And here's your real matchup right here. Myself against Cam Boyer. This is the one you got to get because I think this separates you with the second.
Can we skip that one? I actually look at that one.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Frank and Jack.
All right, give me Frank.
All right.
Actually, no.
Oh.
Okay, never mind. Sorry. You know what? Let's just do Frank for the sake of time.
There you go. Zippy and Cam Crook.
We're taking Zippy.
There you go. Kale and Dade.
Taking Kale.
And then Matt and you already did Matt yourself.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
we'll get a quick look here at myself against Cam Boyer. That is, and we'll get to the three of our previews here in a minute. This is the only matchup you really got to look at here.
Okay. So we got. There we go. Houston. Can you go up a little bit? Okay, so they got him projected by 8. All right. Off the dome, I'm going you. We'll take Andy.
All right, there we have it.
There we go.
Picks taking chalk this week.
Good choice.
It's not a bad week to go chalk, based on what we have here on the board. We got about 5 minutes here, Ty. So there's no better time to toss it over to our good friend Beaver for the Beavin Guest, where he peppers you with some questions before we send you on your way and back to study.
I just want to say thanks again, Ty, for joining the show. I'm gonna hit you with some rapid fire questions. Just give me your best answer, and let's have it going. All right, number one. How do you like living in Tennessee?
Oh, dude, I love it. I don't love that the Eastern time zone. So like I'm an hour. I think am I the only one that's in the Eastern time zone? Everybody else Central?
Yeah, no,
so that
sucks.
sucks.
I think Kale's in it.
No.
I thought they're an hour out. Okay, I'm done. This is bad.
You're good. But yeah, so like that sucks.
All right, whatever. All right,
I love
2.
it. Go ahead.
What do you think the plan is for your Titans? Do you think you're gonna stay on Will Levis, or do you think you're gonna draft a receiver?
I think Levis is done. Either we sign. I couldn't give you a good plan. We're terrible. We need a better line. We need to draft a line. We just got rid of D-Hop. I don't know. It's so depressing to watch because of like 2 years ago, it was actually, I used to enjoy my team. I don't know. Yeah, definitely not Levis though. We'll go either
Sam
veteran.
Darnold, bridge year.
I was going to say Darnold's a good option.
That could be
Sam Darnold, bridge year.
Would that make me happy? Absolutely, because I'm on fantasy. And I'd be okay with it too. I don't know. I don't know if he'd be that good with our shitty line. Sorry, excuse me. But I'll leave it at that.
Do you guys think you're going to keep Ridley or no?
I wish not. He's just as bad as I thought he was going to be, and then I let myself hype it up, and then now he's really not terrible, but he's not.
He's not what you guys need.
Yeah. Exactly. Thank you. We're spending too much money on a guy that's just not doing it for us. Plus, NWI is scoring more touchdowns than him, so leave it at that.
There you go.
Feel that. All right. Next question. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Tennessee, probably. Well, hopefully I have a law degree by then. Hopefully I do something cool. Hopefully we're not in a civil war as we're filming on election night here. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, hopefully I'm not dead in a trench somewhere. Maybe I'm making some money, got some kids, the whole thing.
There you go.
That'd be cool.
Oh yeah, I thought it'd be a little fun question to add, but on the next one. So I ask this question every time we get our guests on here. A little fun question. You got an hour left to live in your life. What's your go-to drink at the bar?
Go to
To,
drink
to
at the
preface,
bar.
to
Yep.
preface, the hour left to live is something he has just thrown on. I don't.
It did
I
not
don't
start
know,
like that.
I don't know where that came from.
There's a zombie apocalypse and
Apocalypse.
whatever.
Okay,
Whatever.
okay. Under those conditions, I'm getting the strongest vodka rebel in my life, and I am
I
just
love that.
downing
I
it as
love
quick
that.
as possible.
Best
Big
answer we've
vodka
had so
rebel
far.
guy. Thank you,
All
thank you.
right. There you go. I like it too. All right, last question. Who would you say your adversary is in this league?
Adversary. I don't hate anybody. There's people that are very unfortunate to trade with, and we complained about it a little bit the other day. It's just like little PSA for everybody. If you're gonna like trade, send the trade. Don't just talk about it and don't send a screenshot of the trade. That gets me so PO'd.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, just don't do that.
Hey man,
So
just
those
talk to
people,
Kale.
those people. No, I'm not even that. It's not even all Kale. It's not even all Kale. But yeah, I won't say any names, but those people.
No,
Hate
throw
those
a name out. You're not gonna hate anyone. Just throw a name out.
people. Drew.
There you go. That's all we needed. You know,
It's a good number.
I'll
glad
bug
sitting
you.
right
I'll
out
bug
there.
you.
But,
I
yeah.
actually have a question too. Can you take your hat off? I want to see how long your hair is. It looks like it's kind of long.
Okay.
I'm not
Oh,
really
you're
not sure,
killing me. Yeah. So for people that don't know, my mother has cut my hair my entire life. I live in Tennessee now, so
though. Oh, it
we
actually isn't as long as
eventually.
I thought, but
Yeah, no, it's just flat as crap back there.
Hey, I'm
I've
gonna
I like
ask
the
you.
trying to
pullover
refrain
too.
from
I like
I'm
the
gonna ask.
pullover
I'm gonna
too.
ask you
thank
one
you,
more.
thank you.
I'm gonna
Clean.
ask
You're
you
a
one
little,
more. I'm gonna ask you one more
a little
question.
bit.
Are
Here
you
we
coming home
go.
for Thanksgiving?
Yes, so I'll be
Now
home
we're
that
releasing
weekend.
personal information to the world.
Yeah, what's going on around here? I'm gonna get
They don't know where
assassinated.
we live.
So I won't be
I
the
live in
day
New
of,
Jersey.
and I'm gonna miss Blackout Wednesday, which sucks. So
Wow.
I'm gonna be over here, but I'll be back Friday. So if you're in town Friday, I'll see you.
Sounds good. I'll be there.
There you have it.
There we
All
have
right.
it. There
Thanks
we
for
go.
joining.
Good stuff, Beef. Ty, appreciate it as always, my man. Thanks for coming on the pod. We will talk to you soon. Everyone, your Beavin guest for the week, Mr. Ty McKain.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. It was a pleasure.
Ty, thank you so much for coming on, being the Beavin guest here this week. JP's fired up. We're getting ready to preview week 10. We're joining you here, the normal three on the panel. Fellas, we kind of went through these matchups and Ty's rapid fire selections. Unfortunately, I guess I'll lead it to you too, JP, because this was a huge conversation we had just in our group chat today. Not a very exciting week in Beaver Fest.
No, very, very bland, very boring. I mean, Drew is projected to beat Brady by 100 points.
And
That's it.
mind you, that's not even with Nico Collins in the lineup if he plays this week.
Yeah, I mean, this is. I can just do a quick scroll. I mean, you guys saw it with Ty, but I mean, this is about as chalk can chalk.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to be eating Tums all week, so.
Yeah, these will be the shortest previews probably you'll get of the season. We start here with JP and Luke in what will probably be the second closest matchup of the week, at least on paper. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see though. JP, we'll give you the floor here. It's your matchup. Just thoughts heading into this battle against Clayton Bigsby's Bandits.
You know, I'm not worried or anything, but we're getting to that point in the season where Lamar is questionable every week, and it really starts to play with my mental health. Even though he ends up playing every time, I just hate getting the notification from Sleeper that Lamar's been downgraded to questionable. But you know, he loses Jerry Jeudy on a bye this week. I literally don't know who he can even play. Oh, never mind. He can play all reliable. Darius Slayton and George Pickens is back. You know, actually, this might be a little closer than I originally thought it was gonna be. But yeah, no, I'm fired up about this matchup. I think this is a week where we're really gonna get to show what we're capable of doing. Although we do, there is someone I have on a bye. Oh, I get C-Mac back this week too. So this is just gonna be a full onslaught. I may be projected 170 points, which might be the highest projection in the history of the league. Luke, just know that Tuck is coming. Potential future head coach for me in the future. But Tuck is coming. And by Tuck, I mean Benjamin Haggerty. And yeah, I'm taking my spread on this. I think Luke goes under and I go over. Also, quickly, not to give out any pick'em tips, but I think Indy is going to beat Buffalo this week. So I think Allen's going to have a stinker in that one. So
there you go. Beaver.
I don't got really much to add here. I'm gonna take JP here, but Luke's gonna need a massive haul from his three-headed goat this week. I do like his matchups. I think Brees Hall could run all over that Arizona defense. But I don't know a lot of things, so I could just be making these things up. But hey, I hit on take Bigsby. So yeah, we'll see. Expect big things from Darnell Mooney this week.
There you go. Pretty big overall in terms of that aspect. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to stray too far from it. It's JP. That would be my pick here this week. It's the logical selection to go with. It's once again, JP, remind us before we went on there, he is 1 win ahead of me and Beaver in our picks. You are 47 and what, JP?
47 and 16, and you and Drew on the flip side are 46 and 17.
Yeah, and I was thinking, so this is a chalk week, as we said. I was like, can I leapfrog here? I was thinking of being sneaky and taking Luke, but we have some more time, and this isn't a week to get cute with it. This is a week just to run the football. So I'm going to take JP. The numbers don't lie. And like you said, he's getting McCaffrey back, so it could be another near 200-point week. So keeping it easy in that regard. You got anything else, Drew, before we move on?
Who's Minnesota play this week? I'm just kind of curious. Oh,
Minnesota plays Jacksonville.
oh, I kind of like that. So back to what I was kind of thinking. Not that's gonna matter, but this could be Hawk's week where he pops off.
Just got depends on where he's at health wise. I think that is the main thing to look at with him. Minnesota
Yes,
though,
sir.
we'll see with that team. They're making moves and they're trying to get out and try and make the playoffs. So as we move on from one not so great matchup to probably another not so great matchup. Oh yeah, this is the not so greatest matchup of the entire week. Can we just say Drew and move on? I mean, I guess you know what,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Beaver.
what.
I have nothing.
That's
We have nothing to
I have
break down.
nothing that. I mean, what do you want to add? Like, think Bixby
You got
could
new
have a
guys,
good
Drew. You want
game.
to talk about your new additions?
Oh, yeah.
Deadline?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I could. Yeah. Like I said previous, James Conner, massive upgrade at the running back. I think he's a. I don't care what it says. Number 14 in this league. I think he's a top 10 running back in this league right now for fantasy wise. Looks great at 29. Especially I had to get this gimme up. I got Benson. Once he gets out of there, I think they're gonna hand that off to Benson. So yeah. Devontae Adams. Pairing him up with Nico Collins, I think is going to be great. He showed that he's back from last week. His head injury he had last week. I think he's okay now. He got cleared. So, yeah, and especially if I get Nico Collins back, the future's looking bright for playoffs. So, and not to mention Amari Cooper. Shoot.
Yeah, didn't even play
And hey,
last week.
I do want to. Yeah, he didn't play with the wrist. I do want to say shout out to Jatavian Sanders. Is he coming alive? Last couple of
How did he
weeks.
do
I mean,
last week?
shoot.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Bryce Young's liking him. So ever since Dalton got hurt, he's been popping off. So
Very nice. Good stuff for you, Beaver. Shouldn't have to break too much of a sweat this week. And like I said, we talked about it with Ty. This is really the only matchup we have to actually give some insight on, some preview. And I guess I'll start it off. This begins my last 5 games, and in my last right 5, is that correct math? Am I mathing right
Yep.
there?
Yep.
It's Cam Boyer, then Cam Crook. So there's what I'm hoping is a nice gift wrap win for me, and then it's Jake, JP, Frankie. So out of my final Frankie, I can't believe it's Frank. Out of my final 5 matchups, 3 of them are against playoff teams. One of them's against a guy who in Zippy, who I will not take lightly at all. So I'm ending my season in a tough fashion. That's okay. That's just how it is. I always pick myself to win. Looking at some of the matchups, Monday Night Football for Devon Achane. I always just say, as long as he has Tua, I'm very optimistic on what he could bring to the table. And I'll have 2 guys in that Monday night game with Puka, barring if he doesn't throw a punch and gets kicked out in the first half. So as long as if I'm within striking distance, I guess he's got Kyron and who else? The Waddle. Okay, so we each have a couple guys on Monday, but I like my guys over Waddle. So as long as the game is somewhat close heading into Monday Night Football, I like what we got. Herbert against Tennessee, that could be fun. I have to start Keenan Allen this week, which I don't like, but that's just kind of that's how things are. I'd rather be forced to start Keenan Allen than Trey Tucker or Christian Watson, because that's what we had to do earlier in the season when we didn't have the depth that we have now. And just some of that, I mean, Ridley, that's not ideal, but he's been finding a way. Tank Dell, Sunday Night Football, Detroit, their secondary. We'll see what that brings, but I still like his connection that he's got with CJ. I'm optimistic. I'm always optimistic. And obviously he's got to flip Olave, so the projections are going to swing as well. He has an inactive guy in his lineup right now, or a guy who probably won't play. So he'll probably be favored to win. He should be favored to win after he makes that change. But I still like myself this week. I pick myself every week, and that's not going to change.
Yeah, I don't really care who he starts with for Chris Olave. Excuse me, Chris Olave. I don't even think this matchup's going to be close. I think Yacker to go over your points. Cam, I think his team is getting worse and worse each week. Yeah, I think Yak's going to win this by a mile. And the one thing that worries me about your team, Yak, is Keenan Allen. He just looks. I'm not saying he looks lost out there, but Shane Waldron is just not helping him. He's just running. He's just basically out there for cardio at this point. But yeah, I'm gonna take Yak here. But I will say, if you scroll up, I love both all the RB matchups in this matchup this week. I like Tyrell Tracy's matchup. I like Mixon's matchup. I like A-Chain's matchup, and I like Kamara's matchup. I think they're all four of them are gonna have big weeks. But I think Yak's gonna win this one. I really do.
I'm torn. I really just want to pick Andy here, just so we're all. I still keep a game up on you guys. But that's not how we get to the top. You don't get to the top by being complacent. I've been on top for a couple weeks now, and screw it. Why not go into the last 4 weeks all tied up anyways? I really like Cam Boyer's matchups this week. Aaron Jones versus Jacksonville, Evan Ingram versus Minnesota. I'm loving. Kyron versus Miami. I absolutely love. And shockingly, might be the only time I say this all year. I love Debo versus Tampa Bay this year. When they get C-Mac back, I think it opens up the passing game to a level that they just haven't been able to get to this year. And I think that opens up a lot more slants, in-breakers, crossers for Debo. And he's going to eat against a horrifically bad Tampa Bay secondary. Like we've all talked about, and I'm going to be the, echo what you guys are saying. Waddle scares me a lot. But he's able to plug in Dallas Goedert and or Jonnu Smith. I can't believe I'm saying Jonnu Smith's a viable fantasy option, but he is. But he's able to plug in Dallas Goedert potentially. And that tight end premium looks good for him. So I'm really liking that. And Andy, you touched on it. I just Keenan Allen worries me. I can't even get excited about the guy anymore because he just looks lost out there. And then
if he can find the end zone, it's fine. But that's just a huge if.
Big if. And he's got to catch the ball. He's got to catch the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, he just looks lost out there. I just
looks
don't
lost.
know.
He looks slow. He can't catch.
That PI he had this week was just so obvious, just brutal. I mean, threw the defender down. I mean, we just can't be having that. I mean, like you said, JP, his slants he runs just super slow, and everyone knows it's coming. So I don't know.
And then my last note, Javonte Williams going up against that KC front seven, which has been stifling running backs this year. So I don't like that play at all. So I'm going to take Cam Boyer here. I actually think Andy goes below his projection this week, just by a small margin, because I do like the two running back matchups that we have up here. And I love Burrow versus Cincy versus Baltimore always ends up being like 42-35 or 38-34. Some high-scoring affair there. But Ferguson without Dak worries me a lot. I'll be really interested to see. And since Fangio likes to sit in zones, it's a tight end's worst nightmare, unless you're Travis Kelce. I'm taking Cam Boyer to win this week.
Marcus Gilday is taking notes. I hope I'm gonna send him the film this week. He's gonna take some notes here. We'll see what happens. Got a couple of 7-2 teams there. We get a 7-2 team here. Frank's won his last 7, guys. Heavily favored here against Jack. I'll just rip the Band-Aid off. He's going to win 8 in a row. Jack, a tough loss last week. That was you, right, JP? Just confirm. I know we went through that, so it was you. It's tough when someone puts up 190 on you, but still, I think Frank takes care of business. Like I said in the last episode, I don't think he loses another game until he plays me in week 14. So I think that this will be an easy victory for him.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go in the discussion in this matchup. I think Frank's gonna go over his projection again this week. I don't even think this match is going to be close, especially with Chubb on a bye. Yeah, I'm taking Frank here.
Yeah, I really don't have much to say. I'm taking Frank to win.
Quick and easy. Gotta love it. This one shouldn't take any time either before we head to our power rankings. Hello, I'm Mr. Frog against the mighty Polacks. This close to Drew territory in terms of percentages. Cam Crook projected more points than Brady. This will be a much needed win for Jake, guys, to get him to 5-5. And similar to many other matchups this week, he's going to do it without really having to worry in week 10.
Yeah, I mean, I got nothing to say here. I mean, I got Jake here by a landslide. I don't even know who Cam's starting at this point. I mean, he's just looking for the future. So yeah, I got Jake here. You know what? I'm gonna say it. I think he goes over his projection this week. I really do, and it's a bad week to go over your projection.
Yeah, I'm not adding anything to this. Yeah, Zippy's winning. I have nothing to add on this. So
all in favor.
Actually, I also want to just move
we
on
forgot
to
about
this. I have nothing to add to this either. Kale's blowing it up, and Dade sucks. Give me Kale. And I don't know if I said any other one, but give me Zippy.
You did say Zippy. I'll take Kale without.
I also will take Kale if I hesitate without any hesitation.
So we don't even need to go through each individual matchup. Those of you who've paid attention, we're all in the same boat with the exception of JP taking Cam Boyer to beat me. That's what it is. There you go. There's your week.
Let's make it fun for the last 4 weeks. Let's make it fun.
There's your week 10 preview, guys. We apologize. It's probably the worst it's going to get all year. There's not much you can do in all the matchups just line up like that. I will say, though, I'm excited. It's a few weeks away, week 14, rivalry week. That'll be a fun episode to preview before we head into the playoffs. So your previews are done. We'll wrap up the show right here, right now with our week 10 power rankings entering the home stretch of the regular season. This is where boys become men. And as we see, there's a lot of slight movement, marginal movement between each tier, guys. JP, we'll give it to you. Obviously, this being your spreadsheet here that you put together. Frank remains the top team in the league entering 10.
Yeah, and right off the rip there, I gotta say, I just highly disagree. I mean, I hold the head against them. I'm almost 100 more points scored than him. But we moved up. I moved up in the power rankings, moving up to number 2 this week, reciprocated by my peers, who both appreciated my 193-point outburst. After one of you, I don't remember who, had me at number 4 last week, which was absolutely disgusting.
You can go back to week 9. I want to say that was me.
Yep.
Okay.
Or wait, week 9. Oh wait, this week 9. Sorry. Yeah, it was you. Thank you, Andy.
That was both of us. Oh wait, no, that was just me. I'm reading it wrong. I'm a moron. Yeah, I was flying high, man. Can't blame me. I was flying high.
I get it, man. Your team's been balling. But anywho, I don't really typically we go, team for team, in this, but I think we've elevated past having to talk about team for team here. What I really want to focus on, or I guess ask the two of you rather, is why don't each of you give me 2 teams that are in, whatever spot you feel, and you talk about how they ended up in that spot, why you put them in that spot, anyone you see moving high or moving low. Beav, why don't we start with you? And I'm actually going to pick your first one for you. I'm going to pick both your teams for you, actually. I want you to talk about putting Luke all the way at 6 and putting Cam Boyer down at 7, which contradict both me and Andy, who have us 2 spots separate both guys.
Yeah, I like Luke's team a lot better than Jake and Cam, to be honest. With Luke's team, I like his starting lineup. Zippy's got Brown out now, and just the production that he's been having lately. And then Cam Boyer, he's like a bunch of people hurt again, and his depth and his bench is just terrible. Like we said, as we joked around, Jakeem Grant, I said was his next best receiver, but it's actually Hakeem Grant, I think, or something.
Hakeem Jarrett.
Hakeem Jarrett. You get the vibe, whatever. You know his name, whatever. But yeah, that's that. I just don't like his depth there, and like his injury, like Olave. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting who he plays this week. We saw he had Jonu Smith and Dallas Goedert. I don't like those plays, but you got to do what you got to do. But that's one guy that I will say that I am quite shocked that didn't make a massive move on the deadline. As we both know, boys, he is one of these managers in our league that likes to trade. So I am very shocked that nothing happened with him.
Yeah, no, I'm actually a little upset he didn't make a move. It almost scares me that he's, not paying as much attention to the league as he typically does. Has me a little worried there. Andy, and actually, upon further review, I also have two teams that I want you to discuss. If
Let's
you
do it.
guys take a look here at me and Andy, we were pretty similar. Starting on 5 down the board, we didn't skip a beat. We held hands and walked down the aisle together. But Yak, this is the most love you've given to Matt this year. This is your highest ranking for Matt to date. I kind of want to hear what you got to say about Matt. And then following that up, the Monocle Gentle Sir, who we've been talking about as a playoff team. I have him ranked at 10, and I have my own reasons for that. Just curious of your reasoning for having him at 10. Maybe we're thinking the same thing there.
Yeah, no. So I'll start with Matt. When a dude puts up 180 plus, there's got to be some love thrown there, and he's put himself into a position. Um, he's entered a new tier. He's entered a tier that he had not been in all season. That was one of those where I took him to beat Jake, if I'm not mistaken, but I said
You
I
did.
took it for the wrong reason. I was like, I need the consistency. He put up 160 the week before. I just don't know if I can count on that consistently, but I needed to take Matt to make up some ground. Thankfully, that was the logic I went with because he won. And if anything, he's been showing more consistency as of late. Plus, he beat Jake head to head. It's hard to keep Jake ahead of Matt after Matt blew him out of the water last week. So I think he deserves it. With offensively, what he's been putting up, it makes sense to have him there. And honestly, when we get down to the Kale, Jack, Ty, all that reason, I probably should have Jack up to 9. I'm not gonna lie, based on what he's put together. But I still think, and I mean, to be fair, I made these before the Travis Kelce trade. I didn't think to fix him up. I still do think if Kale and Jack go head to head, there is that slight edge potentially based on I trust Kale's star power just a bit more. Some of the guys he has on his team just a bit more for the time being, but that's a dwindling thing. I think you could flip those two very easily. It's tough to get to that middle range before you hit the very bottom of the power rankings. So I think that's the best logic I can say for my rankings of Matt and Jack for week 10.
Yeah, and something I found interesting is if you look at the top 6, they're all the playoff teams, and I mentioned earlier in the episode that I think a lot of these playoff spots are pretty much on lock. And I don't want to jinx you, Matt, but I think you've tiptoed into that category. I really think at this point in time, the 7 seed is what's being duked out for between Luke and Zippy and Jack. But I think it's funny that we all acknowledge that Zippy's team is hands is much better than Jack's team, and Jack is still probably going to end up stealing that playoff spot from him. But yeah, not I think as we advance farther into the year and get a little farther in, that these power rankings we're gonna have much less substance to talk about, maybe a little more towards the top. But the good news in the other side of that coin is we're getting to the playoffs now, and something I wanted to bring up was earlier in the show, Andy said that once we get to the playoffs, teams are going to have to score 155 and above to win. So I took it upon myself to calculate what the current 7 teams in the playoffs, what you would need to score, or what the average rather is. So the average, which is also hindered, I do want to point out, because Jack right now is a playoff team, and I think he's like 11th in points scored. But the average right now is 141.52. I think that also goes back to Matt having multiple weeks under 120. My point is that when we do get to the playoffs, I think everything Andy said earlier in the episode will be true. I think 155 will be, 155 may not even get it done for you.
Yeah.
155, you may score 160 in the playoffs, and your opponent probably could score 185, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. But yeah, no, not much more to add from me. Beav, you got anything else to say about these?
No, I want to make a strong prediction here, and you guys are gonna be like, "Whoa, whoa!" But
Whoa.
I think if Luke doesn't get a win here in the next 2 weeks, I think he blows it up in the offseason. I'm going to stick to that what I said earlier in the show a couple weeks ago.
You're staying persistent with your Luke needs to tear apart his team.
I think not his whole team, but I think he's going to move some pieces around for some picks.
Well, I mean, we didn't review it, but he did just trade T. Higgins for a first-round pick to Zippy. I think that was randomly on Sunday.
Yeah,
I
think that was an offer Jake forgot to rescind.
Yeah, Zippy said it was sitting. I'm just gonna Luke, I love you. I'm just gonna out Luke. Luke texted me and goes, "Would it be scummy if I accept this trade from Zippy that's been in my inbox for a week?" And I go, if it was anyone else, it'd probably be a little scummy. But considering Zippy wouldn't even help Matt out, accept it and don't look back.
That's too good.
Whose first was it? Was it his first or Matt's?
It was Matt's. So
Yeah.
It's a bad year for draft picks anyway. Not a bad. It's a good year. Obviously, you're going to get an elite player in the top 3, top 5, but the depth just isn't there in this 2025 draft. That if it's a later first, T. Higgins might be of equal value to in terms of instant impact of a receiver that you could get at that point in the draft. That's just sometimes how it is in this league. That is kind of funny though that conversation was had. But yeah, fellas, crunch time is here. We're getting ready for these playoffs. It should be a lot of fun. Make sure to keep it tapped in here. Like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. We're back with a weekly episode again next week. Remember to check out our socials. Drew, our TikTok page is?
I think it's beaver.fest.pod.
Drew is the one who runs our TikTok. So
let me hold up.
He's got pulled up. Beaver.fest.
Just _ Beavin _ podcast.
I'm about 0 for 3 on stuff today. So yeah.
There you go. I also put you on the spot. That's on me. Beaver.fest on Instagram for all the stuff. If you want to catch up on the trade deadline, all the moves that were made, we got polls up for those. Go give them a look. A lot of moves. A lot of fun stuff to look at. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. We'll be back again in 1 week's time on the Just Beavin podcast.